Hi, I'm Monica. My dad was a successful businessman. I always tried to study well to be like him. Ever since I was a kid, I like cycling and spent hours practicing. By the way, this is Wolf, another member of our family. He looks dangerous, but he's actually very well behaved. One day, we went for a walk. A science exhibition was held on a square outside. I was looking at the exhibits, and I suddenly noticed a guy nearby. He was shouting at two crying boys. Wolf saw them too, and broke off the leash. Hey, wait! I ran after him. Then I heard what the guy was saying. He was demanding those children give him money. Wolf ran up to him and growled menacingly. The guy got scared and backed off. Get your rabid dog away from me! I grabbed Wolf and pulled him aside. Meanwhile, the children quietly escaped. When the guy noticed it, he got even angrier. You've ruined everything! He abruptly turned around and left. Wolf stared after him for a long time, growling. A couple of days later, Dad said he wanted to talk. He was very nervous for some reason. Monica, I've been meaning to tell you this for a long time, but I couldn't find the courage to do it. I have a fiancé. Tomorrow she will move in here with her son. I had no words. That was quite a surprise. Although, to be honest, I'd expected for a long time that Dad was dating someone. He was waiting for my reaction. I was silent for a while and then smiled. I hope everything works out for you two. Thank you. That means a lot to me. The next day, I was preparing for the arrival of Rachel and Stefan. That was the name of Dad's fiancé and my new stepbrother. It was crazy. I couldn't believe I was going to have a brother. I had just finished setting the table when they arrived. We heard footsteps in the hallway, and Wolf suddenly bristled and growled. I petted his head. Good boy. What is wrong? What's the matter with you lately? The next moment, they walked into the living room. At first, I noticed Rachel. She turned out to be very beautiful. Then I looked at Stefan and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was the guy I'd run into at the exhibition. Wolf must have smelled him right away, and that was why he growled. Stefan got scared and jumped back to the door. Take him away! I'm afraid of dogs! Dad sent Wolf out into the yard, and we sat down to have dinner. The first time we met, Stefan seemed like an unpleasant guy. I expected him to take his anger out on me, but that didn't happen. Stefan seemed nice, and Rachel looked friendly. Monica, I'm sure you and I will become the best of friends. After dinner, I sat down to finish the model for a school project. After a few hours, I felt sleepy and went to get coffee. When I came back, I froze at the door. My model was lying on the floor, and Stefan was standing next to it, looking upset. Sorry, I just wanted to look at it and accidentally dropped it. I doubted it had happened accidentally, but I did not start a fight. I decided to clear the air. Listen, what happened at our last meeting? Were you really demanding money from those kids? They stole my wallet and I wanted it back. But then you came up and they took off. Stefan sounded very convincing, and I calmed down a little. I only fell asleep in the morning because it took me almost all night to fix the model. A noise woke me up. I left my room and ran into Dad. We went downstairs with Rachel and ran into the living room. Stefan was standing there with a bandaged arm and Wolf was growling nearby. He bit me. I quickly cleaned the wound and dressed it. What? Even though Wolf disliked him, he wouldn't have bit him. He never attacked anyone. Show us the bite. Before Stefan could answer, Rachel put her arm around his shoulders. We're going to the doctor right now. What if you got infected with something? This dog is so aggressive, maybe he should live outside. I stood up for Wolf, but Dad took Rachel's side. Wolf started to live in the doghouse. It was so unfair. He definitely hadn't bitten that idiot Stefan. I came to school feeling upset. My mood got even worse when I found out that Stefan and I were now classmates. He showed up for the third lesson. His behavior infuriated me. He constantly complained about his sore arm and demanded I help him. Yes, he didn't ask, but demanded it. After classes, I went to practice on the school bike track. Stefan followed me for some reason and criticized my every move. My best friend, Betty, was sitting on the bench next to me. Suddenly he sat down next to her and started to hit on her. It seemed like he liked her. Maybe that was why he'd come to the bike track? I was right. At home, he started asking me about Betty. You have to help me befriend her. First of all, I don't have to do anything. Secondly, you're not her type at all. I'm sorry, but you don't stand a chance. Stefan's face suddenly changed. At that moment, he had crazy eyes. If you don't help me, you will regret it. A couple seconds later, our parents walked into the room. Stefan instantly turned nice and changed the subject. His acting skills shocked me. What was that? A little later, I was going to the kitchen when I accidentally overheard Dad talking to Rachel. She was asking him for money for the wedding dress. She wanted a huge amount of money, but Dad gave it to her right away. At that rate, Rachel would completely ruin him. I woke up at night because I felt that someone else was in my room. I opened my eyes and saw a man sitting on the edge of my bed. He was wearing black clothes and his face was hidden by a deep hood. He was laughing. It looked really creepy. I screamed. Dad and Rachel came running to my screams and turned on the light. The creepy stranger turned out to be Stefan in dark pajamas. What's going on here? Stefan snuck into my room and scared me. Nonsense, I came because you were screaming in your sleep. In the end, Dad believed him. He and Rachel thought I just had a nightmare, and everyone had left. I locked the door from the inside but couldn't fall back asleep. I couldn't understand why Stefan had done it. The next day, I tried to avoid him at school. As luck would have it, he was constantly hanging around. He came up to Betty and smiled at me creepily while no one else could see it. During the break, I told my friend about what had happened at night. My stepbrother is a real madman. I'm afraid to live with him. Betty suggested we go to the movies after school to get my mind off things. We tried to slip away unnoticed so that Stefan wouldn't follow us. However, he appeared in the cinema literally 5 minutes after us. He probably followed us. At first, I wanted to turn around and leave, but then I changed my mind. He wouldn't ruin my evening. You know, I wish I'd left after all. Betty and I sat next to each other, and he sat right behind me. At some point, Stefan started pulling my hair. You're in the way, I can't see anything because of your stupid hair. I moved to the next chair, but Stefan moved too. You're in the way again. Was he kidding me? I moved even further away, and that idiot sat behind me again. Suddenly, I heard a strange sound. Next second, strands of my hair fell to the floor. Damn it was my hair. I turned around and saw a pair of scissors in Stefan's hands. I touched my head and almost burst into tears. He had cut off several large strands. Are you crazy? People were beginning to stare at us. Betty grabbed my arm and led me away. I spent the rest of the day crying at her house. I'd been growing my hair for years. I came home late. I immediately went to Dad and told him what Stefan had done. At first, he seemed to feel sorry for me, but then he suddenly frowned. Don't lie to me. I didn't understand anything. What did he mean by that? Rachel and Stefan suddenly came into the room. Like I said, it was her friend Betty. She was jealous of Monica's long hair, so she cut it off. Monica is trying to protect her friend and make me look like the bad guy. I was stunned by his shamelessness, but the worst thing was that Dad believed him and not me again. A little later, Stefan and I bumped into each other in the corridor. He looked at me and grinned nastily. I couldn't stand it any longer. I grabbed his arm and tried to pull off the bandage. I will prove to everyone that you are a liar. Stefan resisted, and we almost got into a fight. Dad and Rachel came running to the noise. They separated us and noticed that the bandage had almost fallen off. There was no bite mark on Stefan's arm. I told you he made it up. Wolf didn't bite him. I saw the wound myself. The ointment the doctor gave us simply worked quickly. Yeah, sure, like I'd believe it. But Dad did. Not right away. But Rachel managed to convince him. The next day, I got a fashionable haircut at a salon. It looked so cool I even liked it. When I got home, I heard voices in the living room. Rachel was talking to my brother. I crept to the door and listened in. Be patient. We won't have to wait long. After the wedding, we will get our hands on all of his money. I almost screamed with indignation. I knew Rachel only needed his money. I did not keep quiet and told my dad about the conversation I'd overheard that very evening. Unfortunately, Rachel was there and immediately intervened. Monica, why are you saying these horrible things about me? You're hurting my feelings. Can you guess whose side Dad took? When he stood up for Rachel, I wasn't surprised anymore. That evening, Stefan came into my room and started threatening me. Quit standing in our way. If you keep snitching on us to your daddy, we'll get rid of you. At that moment, I felt really scared, but I plucked up the courage and decided to act. Those two were definitely up to something. I wanted to find out what it was. I waited until everyone had left and snuck into my parents' bedroom. I searched Rachel's things but didn't find anything interesting. I'd almost lost hope when I suddenly came across an envelope. Inside was a receipt for a wedding dress. It seemed she'd spent much less money than Dad had given her. What had Rachel spent the rest of the money on? There was also a business card of some clinic in the envelope. All of a sudden, I heard footsteps in the corridor. Damn it, Rachel must have come back earlier than expected. I quickly hid under the bed, and she came into the room. I finally got lucky. Rachel changed her clothes and went downstairs, so I managed to sneak out unnoticed. Before going to bed, I googled the name of the clinic and found out that it was some sort of center for genetic examinations. I was so confused. Why would Rachel go there? The next day, something happened at school. During the break, Betty called me into the yard. We saw Stefan harassing some younger students there. It was clear he was demanding money. I doubted they'd stolen his wallet. So Stefan had lied about the previous time too. He was just taking children's money. Betty and I defended the kids and went to the principal. Now that jerk would definitely get it. Might be hard to believe, but Stefan got away with it. He came out of the principal's office with a satisfied smile on his face. He was a brilliant actor and even made us look guilty. He said we were setting him up. He scared the children to make them keep quiet. I didn't know what to do. I tried to figure out how to deal with Stefan, but nothing came to mind. After school, I decided to relax and go for a walk with Wolf. However, when I saw him, I realized that something was wrong with him. He was sluggish and didn't even react when I called his name. I got scared and brought him to the vet. Wolf ate something wrong. It almost looks like he was poisoned. While they were treating Wolf, I remembered seeing Stefan next to the dog food not long ago. Maybe he'd put something in it. I ran out of patience. Now I would definitely put him in his place. I was going to expose him. But as soon as I got home, I realized that something bad had happened. Dad, Rachel, and Stefan were sitting at the table with stony faces. Monica, you should sit down. Rachel, maybe we shouldn't. It won't change anything anyway. I looked at them and didn't understand what they were talking about. In the end, I sat down at the table. I knew your mother. Before she married your dad, she dated another man. Long story short, Monica, you're not your dad's real daughter. I felt like I had been hit over the head by something heavy. I jumped up from my seat. You are lying! You and your crazy son made everything up to get rid of me! Rachel sighed and shoved the results of a genetic examination at me. There was a symbol of the center at the bottom. I had seen it on their business card before. It turned out they used my hair as the biomaterial, the hair that Stefan cut off. Don't start that again. I just took a hair off your clothes. I didn't believe them. I was sure they were lying. Rachel had probably used the money Dad had given her for the dress to buy the results of the examination she wanted. After Rachel and Dad had gone to bed, I sneaked up to Stefan and pressed him against the wall. The scumbag didn't even deny it. I warned you. We'll get rid of you first, then your dad, and then we'll get all your money. I was horrified. Those two were definitely nuts. I realized too late that I needed to record Stefan's confession. The next day, the school announced that a cycling race would soon take place. I was on the school team and had to participate. I was in such a terrible mood. I didn't want to do that, but I had to. During the break, I saw Stefan terrorizing children again. This time, I didn't repeat my mistake and filmed everything on video. Then I showed it to the principal. After that, Stefan couldn't talk his way out of it. The principal called our parents. Rachel tried to protect her son, but I showed her and Dad the video. Dad was very surprised. It's so weird. Stefan is such a nice guy, but in the video he acts completely different. I took advantage of his confusion and took him aside to walk. Rachel tried to stop me, but this time Dad listened to me. We locked ourselves in an office, and I once again told him about everything. Dad looked confused and promised to think about my words. Well, at least some progress had been made. The next morning, the participants of the cycling race came to the start line. I was getting ready when Stefan suddenly appeared next to me. He was grinning nastily as always. Good luck, sis. I tried not to pay attention to him. A crowd of fans had gathered around us. At some point, I noticed that Betty was trying to reach me. It seemed like she wanted to say something, but then the horn sounded. I took off and was soon ahead of everyone. At first, everything was going well, but then a slope appeared ahead. I was cycling down it, and suddenly realized that I couldn't slow down. The brakes weren't working. I panicked and tried to stop the bike with my feet, and the world suddenly started spinning, and I fell. It really hurt. A bunch of people crowded around me, and an ambulance arrived and took me to the hospital. The doctor said that I was lucky to get off with abrasions and bruises. After a while, my dad ran into the ward looking worried. What happened? I just got a call. I didn't understand what happened myself. Everything was explained by Betty. She came in soon after Dad. Stefan, cut your brakes. I saw everything and wanted to warn you, but it was too late. Dad was horrified. Betty confirmed everything I had told him earlier. He grabbed his head. I'm such a fool, daughter. I'm sorry. We decided to do another genetic examination. Dad also brought our dog food to a laboratory for testing. Rachel, of course, did not know about that and was preparing for the wedding without a worry in the world. Soon the results came. It turned out that my dad and I were related, and the food really had been poisoned. That same day, Dad broke off his engagement with Rachel and kicked her out of the house. She was shocked and tried to justify her actions. Darling, you've got it all wrong. Of course no one listened to her anymore. I filed a police report on Stefan for the damaged brakes. Later, we heard rumors that he had been sent to therapy. Dad decided that living without a wife wasn't that bad. Having me and Wolf, who was very loyal, was enough. By the way, Wolf moved back into the house. After all, animals have amazing intuition. They can sense good and bad people right away. Hey squad! Like to see your life in comics? Stories that are so embarrassing that even friends do not know about them. Don't say you don't have such ones. They belong on the Anon Please channel. Check it out! Click here!